I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. During a rally in Prescott Valley, Arizona on Friday, former President Trump railed against President Biden and Speaker Pelosi. Trump, who was stumping for Republican gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake, sounded a common refrain he's used at many rallies. The former president took aim at President Biden over inflation and the surge in border crossings, while touting his record in office. Trump has aggressively hinted at a run for president in 2024. His nationwide campaigning on behalf of other candidates is a key method of retaining power and influence in his party, as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis gains on Trump in the polls. Take a listen for more from Trump's remarks.
Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you very much, and a very, very big hello to an incredible place. It's called Arizona. Thank you. It's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are 4 months from now. The people of Arizona are going to fire the radical left Democrats. You are going to elect a truly great woman who I've gotten to know very well, Kari Lake, as your next governor. You're going to send a brilliant guy who I have also gotten to know very well, Blake Masters, to the U.S. Senate. You're going to elect an incredible slate of America First Republicans up and down the ballot. And we are going to end crazy Nancy Pelosi. She is crazy. Her political career, once and for all, ended. You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done to our country in less than 2 short years. The contrast between the Trump administration's amazing success and Joe Biden's breathtaking failure could not be more stark. You see it right here in your state. You see hundreds of thousands of people pouring into your state, hundreds of thousands of people, and they have no intention of stopping it. It's not even believable. Let's look at some of the facts. Less than 2 years ago, when I was in office, gasoline, a thing called gasoline, now nobody wants to even talk about it, was $1.87 a gallon. And now it's $5, $6, $7, and even in some places $8 and $9 a gallon. Only going to get worse. We gave you the largest tax cuts and regulation cuts in American history, even larger than the Reagan tax cuts that once held the record by a lot, actually. The radical Democrats intend to impose the largest tax hike in American history. That's what they want to do. They think raising taxes is a wonderful thing, so they can waste it on things like the Green New Deal. You know what that is? In 300 years from now, the ocean will be 1/8 of an inch higher, according to that. Now, maybe lower, too. Who the hell knows, right? Who knows? And they're working feverishly to pile on more regulations at levels never seen before. Nobody's ever seen anything like what they're trying to do. Under the Trump administration, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world with no inflation. No inflation. Biden created the worst inflation in 47 years. We're at 9.1%, but the actual number is much, much higher than that. And it's going higher and higher all the time. It's costing families nearly $6,000 a year, bigger than any tax increase ever proposed, other than the tax increase that they want to propose right now. Good luck with that. We created 7 million new jobs with the lowest unemployment rates for American We had the best rates ever. We had the lowest rates, unemployment for Americans, and for African Americans, we had the best numbers. And for Hispanic Americans, we had the best numbers. And for Asian Americans, we had the best numbers ever in recorded history. We had the best numbers for every group. Women, men, high school diploma, no diploma, MIT diplomas, doctors. We had the best numbers for every group. There wasn't one group that had worse numbers than what they had. Nobody's ever done anything like it. And we were beating China so badly. So badly. We had a record 164 million people working, far more than we have today. We achieved the largest poverty reduction in 50 years. We lifted 7 million people off of food stamps. And we lifted 10 million people off of welfare. 10 million people off of welfare. And they were happy because they got a great job and they were making more money than they'd ever seen before. Under Biden, there are still 4 million people who have not returned to the labor force. Real wages are collapsing, and we're on the verge of a devastating, and this is devastating, it's called stagflation. Look it up. It's not good. It's not good. And what I'm concerned about, they keep talking about having some reversals. I don't want people mentioning the word depression, because where we're going now could be a very bad place. We got to get this act in order. We have to get this country going, or we're going to have a serious problem. Not recession. Not recession. Recession's a nice word. We're going to have a much bigger problem than recession. We'll have a depression. You know, in 1929, they had a thing called the Depression. You know that, right? They wish they could have had a recession only. I rebuilt our military, including our nuclear capability and creation of Space Force. Space Force. Not since the Air Force 80 years ago had anything taken place like Space Force, and we're lucky we have it, and a lot of it comes out of the state of Arizona. You know that, right? A lot of it. A lot of it. A lot of it's here. They surrendered our strength and turned Afghanistan into the greatest humiliation our country has ever seen. And not the fact that we were leaving, because I was getting them way down. I had us down to a number that we hadn't seen in many, many years. But the way we were leaving, a total surrender. We created the safest border. Think of it. We created the safest border in the history of our country. And now we have the most unsafe border in the history of our country, and I believe in the history of the world, because I really believe that no country, a third world country, doesn't have a border like we have. There's never been anything like it. And you're talking about millions and millions of people coming in, unvetted, coming in from jails from 141 different countries. What they're doing to our country is ruining it. They're poisoning our country. We ended catch and release. We deported record numbers of illegal aliens and gang members. And we built hundreds of miles of border wall. In fact, we completely finished our original plan. Despite 2.5 years of Democrat-inspired lawsuits, they sued me from day one on the wall. 2.5 years in court, we won every one of them. We finished the wall, and then we added much wall. We added a lot of additional wall. They said we could use some wall over here. Remember they said walls don't work? Walls and wheels, I used to say, right? You know, they have all sorts of computers and technology. Two things that always happen, a wall and a wheel. They're never going to be replaced, I don't think. I don't know. When you find something better than a wheel, let me know, please. 3 weeks was all they would have taken to complete the remaining portion of the wall. We had this thing going like nobody's ever seen it. It had a huge impact. And I want to thank the president of Mexico. He gave us 28,000 soldiers, free of charge, right? 28,000 soldiers, free of charge. And we had a great relationship on the border with Mexico for the first time. Now you see what's happened. That whole relationship is gone, and people are flooding us. Never happened like this, never. Nothing like this has ever happened. And I said to Mexico, we need your help. We need your people on the border. They can't come into our country. And they said, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. I said, good, then I'm going to charge you 25% tariffs on all of the things that you make, including cars that are pouring into our country. And they said, on the other hand, they said, we would love to help you. We would really love to do it. So they gave us 28,000 soldiers. They were great. Actually, they did a very, very good job. We had the best numbers we've ever had. The border was the best and the safest in U.S. history, and they've turned it into the worst in U.S. history, maybe of any country. So, I mean, think of it. And instead of being proudly energy independent, which we were just 2 years ago, we were energy independent, we were even energy dominant. The United States is now a beggar for energy. We're a beggar for energy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Think of it. Energy, the border, Afghanistan, the way we got out. Do you know, in Afghanistan, I spoke to Abdul, the leader of the Taliban. And I said, Abdul, you can't kill our people anymore. You kill our people, we're going to hit you so hard. You can't do it, Abdul. And you know what? And actually, Biden acknowledged this. I didn't think he realized it, to be honest. I was very impressed. But 18 months, not one American soldier was killed. And then they did a surrender. And then the United States did a surrender, leaving all of that equipment, leaving many American citizens behind. Right now, you have many people living in Afghanistan that don't want to be there, and who knows what's even happening to them. And think of all of those soldiers that were hurt, killed. We lost 13, but some were horrifically injured. No legs, no arms, and worse. You've never seen anything like it. And we had it just where we wanted it. We could have gotten out with dignity and strength. Instead, we did something that was, I think, in my opinion, the greatest embarrassment that we've ever had in the history of our country. Biden and the radical left have turned calm into chaos, competence into incompetence, stability into anarchy, prosperity into poverty, and security into a total catastrophe.